Let us now look at the future perfect. Under that, a couple of sentences to look at to note the change of the active voice to passive voice. Okay? So the eighth one is future perfect. That's the eighth one. Future. Future perfect. Future perfect tense, the changeover of the active into the passive. And that's what we are going to look at here. Let's look at some of the sentences. And here's the first sentence for you. The chemist will have closed the shop by 8 o'clock. The chemist the chemist will have closed the shop by 8 o'clock. That's the active voice in the future perfect. Let's look at that sentence. The first sentence. The chemist. The chemist will have, future perfect, okay? Will have. The chemist will have closed the shop by 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock. Okay. Now, this is in the active voice. Will have. You're looking at the future perfect. Will have closed. And we are looking at the future perfect active. So this is the active voice. Now let's note the changeover from the active into the passive in the next sentence. Okay, how will we change now? The shop will have been closed. The shop will have, we are looking at future perfect. The shop will have been closed by 8 o'clock. So, the shop will have been closed. The shop will have been closed by the chemist by 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. We're changing in the future perfect, change over from the active into the passive. Will, look at the verb, will have been. And this is in the passive voice. Passive. Now let's look at another sentence in the future perfect. We shall have painted the whole house by 12 o'clock. We shall have. The second one, we shall have painted the whole house by 12 o'clock. By 12 o'clock. Okay. Now we are looking at the active voice. We shall have painted, and this is in the active voice. Let's look at the changeover from the active into the passive in the future perfect. And the sentence is, the whole house will have been painted. The whole house, the whole house will have been, will have been, will have been painted, will have been painted by us, by us, by 12 o'clock, by 12, by 12 o'clock. And that is, look at the verb will have been. And it is in the passive voice. It's in the passive. We are looking at the future perfect. We are looking at the future perfect. We are doing the active and passive voice, looking at the change from the active into passive in the future perfect. Look at the sentence. The chemist will have closed the shop by 8 o'clock. That's active. We're changing into the passive. The shop will have been closed by the chemist by 8 o'clock. Let's look at another sentence in the future perfect. We shall have painted the whole house by 12 o'clock. Active. And change into the passive. The whole house will have been painted by us by 12 o'clock. Now, we have learned the future perfect in this sentence, and we noted the change from the active into the passive voice.